This is the Anastasia Ryzhkova podcast. When I started uploading my own poetry on Instagram, I discovered the side of the social media platform that I never knew. Instagram is a place for artists of all breeds, writers, photographers, cooks, jewelry makers, and so on. Of course, I knew that talented creators filled the media with their awesome work, but I don't think I realized the extent of the phenomena. Well, this is where I discovered the talent of Lyn Patterson. Lyn's sophisticated metaphors and soulful verses spoke to me. When I reached out to Lyn, we quickly discovered that besides poetry, we share a passion for travel and an interest in spirituality. Since we have spoken the first time, Lyn has gone on her own hero's journey to discover the history of her ancestors in Ireland. In this podcast, we talk about her amazing travels full of surprises and synchronicities, and much, much more. I hope you enjoy listening to this. Hi, Lyn. So, we've done a podcast before, and I met you on Instagram, and I was moved by your poetry, but also we started talking because I saw a picture of you in New Orleans, right? Was it because of that? Or did we talk before? But anyway, we found out that we have a lot in common besides poetry. I like traveling, various amounts of different places that we come from.
Spirituality,
Orishas. I did a more research on Orishas and Yoruba culture. And yeah, I read on some mythology, and it's just so hilarious. Some of it's so hilarious, but also so profound. I did a lot of research on mythology in general, so now I'm just trying to put the puzzle pieces together. But we could talk about that later.
Yeah.
It's a long topic too.
Yes, it is a very robust topic. You might even know more than I do at this point.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think so. But yeah, so you went to a carnival on the weekend?
Yes. Yeah. So I was telling you that I had a very interesting weekend because I went to Carabana, which is in Toronto.
Okay.
It's my second year going, but it's the first year that I've played Mass.
Okay.
And so, do you know what playing Mass is?
No. Tell me.
Okay. Yeah. So playing Mass is, they call the people masqueraders, and it's like the men and women who dress up in those costumes.
Yes.
Yeah, with all the like jewels and the feathers. And,
yes.
The two pieces, etc. And your responsibility is to like dance and have a good time and get the crowd excited. And then at the end of the parade, you cross the stage. And so when you cross the stage, that's like your moment to shine and like put on a show for everyone, and you get judged. And the best like show ends up winning the like prize of being the best band in the parade. So within the band, they have different sections, and each section is its own like costume designer. And yeah, very interesting. So in Brazil, I studied abroad in Brazil, and for Carnival there, they have something very similar, but I'm not sure exactly what they call them. But the bands themselves are actual like samba bands, with, like the big drums and all of that.
Cool.
In this carnival, the band is actually just like a DJ. Yeah. And so the DJ's responsibility is to get the music going, get the crowd hype, and really like get the dancers hype, because they're the ones that like gets everyone else excited and hyped. Yeah. So it was a really like wonderful and awesome experience to have like gone to Carnival, or not to Carnival, but to have been a part of some festivals in Brazil, and then now to like get to experience Carnival in another culture. And so there's carnivals that happen all over the Caribbean, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in Barbados. But this one is one of the biggest ones in the world, and it just brings together people from everywhere. So people had
Yeah.
their flags, just twirling them around and dancing all day.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I was like really inspired by is just like how many beautiful shapes and sizes of the people who participated in the band.
Yeah.
For me, like one of my goals, I've like really struggled with my body image throughout my life for various reasons. And one of my goals for this year was to just like wear a bathing suit in public and feel comfortable, which for some people is not a big deal, but for me, it's like a really big deal. So to have done that in like such a public way, but to feel so supported and like empowered and to have so much fun was really, it was a really awesome weekend.
That sounds amazing. It does sound really cool that you were able to just not care because you were having so much fun. Because I think it's a total misconception that you've got a certain body type, right? So you don't care anymore whether you wear a bikini or not. But lots of people actually care a lot more than we think, and it's all in the head, really. It's not really that much outside. And if you feel sexy, like they say, you look sexy, and you do, because you. It's all about the energy. It's not really about. It is about the way that you feel.
Yeah.
But the energy is felt a lot more than what it looks like, because if you're energetically not feeling good about yourself, you're slouching, you're like hiding, and if you feel sexy, you're out there. Yeah. And I think you're a sexy, beautiful woman. You've got awesome pictures out there, and I would love. I think I saw a little snapshot from the carnival on the Instagram stories. Looks cool.
Yeah.
So, what'd you guys get to wear? Like a little piece here, right, and a skirt.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds
Yeah.
so much fun.
So there's like different costumes. I wasn't quite ready to commit to a two-piece in public,
Okay.
so I had a whole piece. Um, but I think my like the favorite part of the costume was like the headband that I had.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it just was like it just was jeweled all over. It had beads like dangling
Oh,
off.
fun.
You can kind of see on my face like
Yeah.
I have some
Yes, it's
sunlight
can.
from the jewels on my face. Yeah,
That's so
that's
funny that's how you use suntan.
yeah. I mean I have it from the
Mm.
necklace as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So the flip side, not to digress, but the flip side of the carnival was that it was so hot in Toronto over this weekend, which is
Yeah.
not normal. There was like a heat advisory, and we started at 9 a.m. and I danced and like was on my feet until 5:30 p.m. at the
You must have been
earliest.
so exhausted.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't. So the other thing I
Mm.
realized about my body is, regardless of how it looks, like
Yeah.
this body is freaking strong. To be able to like be in the heat for that long
Yeah.
and dancing and keeping my energy up, like that also, I coming out of it, I felt like a warrior. Like, yeah. So I have lots of interesting tan lines now from the costume.
It's always that way when you wear something really, really interesting, really out there, that you get like weird tan lines. And you're like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
But so in Toronto, is it a Brazilian tradition, or is it just a mix of all the traditions?
So no, I don't think it's Brazilian at all. I mean, I'm sure there are some people from Brazil who participated, but it's
Mm.
mostly like Caribbean countries. So again, like
Okay.
lots of people from Guyana, from Barbados, from Trinidad, Jamaica, Saint Lucia. I met a lot of people from Saint
Yeah.
Lucia, Grenada. Lots of people from all over.
That's really cool. I would love to be part of something like that. I've actually have never been, but I've heard so many amazing things about carnivals. And
I'm addicted now. You'll
yeah.
probably see me popping up in Trinidad over the next year at some point to participate as well.
I would love to if I could. Um, I don't know. Trinidad. Where's Trinidad again? Did you say?
It's in it's in the Caribbean. It's near I think it's like really close to Aruba.
Okay.
So it's a little further south than
It's a
some
small
of the other
island, right?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Ah, awesome. Love to go to an island. It sounds amazing. So, what'd you learn from it?
Ah, I learned so much. So much. Um, Being from Seattle, like I didn't grow up around a lot of people from the Caribbean. So
Mm-hmm.
moving to the East Coast, that's been something that's been really beautiful is just to see the diaspora of Black people and the diversity of where people come from. As a teacher, a lot of my students have been from the West Indies or from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got to try a lot of food that I never had, like roti.
What's
Um,
that?
it's like a bread. Um, it's really hard to describe, but it's
Okay.
like a bread. Um, and then I also well, I've had oxtail before, but there was just like so many different options for great oxtail there that I was really excited about. Curried chicken. These are all like things I didn't grow up eating.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the food was really great. The other thing is just like, I mean, it's so hard to describe like being a part of mass.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been to Caravana before, um, and always as like someone who's watching the parade.
Yeah.
So to be a part of it and see how things run in the background was really cool and awesome. And the energy, oh, it's just the energy is incredible.
I think it's amazing when you're part of that crowd. You like you said, you sort of blend in with the people and you become one energy. You start moving with the dancing, and then one person moves and another moves.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's. I think there have been studies done on like tribal dances as well, where people just
definitely.
fall into a dance, and you're not. It's not choreographed. It's just part of the energy, and it looks similar like as the other person without rehearsing it. Yeah, that
Yeah.
fascinates me.
Um, yeah, in my undergrad research, we talked about this a little last time,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a dancer. Salsa is like my primary dance, and I also do samba and some other dances. Um, but I'm really interested in dances that are like African diasporic dances that have their roots in tribal African dances, and it's partly because like there I just when I hear music, like if you ever see me out dancing, I once I start, I never stop. And it's almost like I go
Yeah,
into a trance
yeah.
when I'm dancing and I find it to be very like therapeutic. Um I can't do yoga because it just doesn't give me the feeling that dancing does. I go to like a
Yeah.
very meditative state almost.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean by that, especially going into the trance. You know, that happened to me once, but I can't say that I was sober because I've done something called ayahuasca. Have you heard of
Yeah.
it? Yeah, so after releasing a lot during, being under the influence of ayahuasca, and there's the shaman that plays the music, I wanted to stretch my arm because I felt so happy because I released. And then I just fell into this dance, and I don't know where it came from. And it hit me. It was a trance, and it was without thinking, and it was very meditative. So I know what you mean. But I don't know if I have the energy to go into the dance. Like, I'm a lot more, I think, self-conscious than you are to just be around in the crowd. Like, I don't know if I could do that to just be in the crowd and excite everybody. That would be really cool to try. to
I
get out
think
of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned when it comes to like the being self-conscious, one, I think it's like totally normal for people to be self-conscious, but I there's a lot of dances that I do that I'm like I'm not like the best at them, but I
Yeah.
just do them because I love to dance and I've picked up certain steps from different places, but I've always found myself in situations where people really appreciate that. Like people really appreciate you taking the time to like get to know their culture, get to know
Mm-hmm.
things that are important to them and being willing to like just dive in even if you're not very good at it. And um most of the time like we're not very good when we start dance in a new genre,
Yeah.
and I find it like much easier to embrace that discomfort in dancing than I do in other areas of my life, which I think is something. I think that's another reason why it also like dancing calls to me, because for some reason I can put myself out there in ways that I wouldn't necessarily in other facets of my life.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. I do that for talking to people because I am interested in finding out about different cultures and what people do, like in their everyday life, where they come from, what their interests are, what they grew up with, you know. But yeah, maybe I could try that dancing as well. Sorry, the weather changed really dramatically. It was really hot and sunny, and now it looks like I'm in the dark and it's night and it's actually 4:30. I'll just turn on the lights really quickly.
Yeah.
You can keep talking. I'll be right there, maybe.
Okay.
Hold on.
Cool.
Sorry, it was just so strange. It was really hot for a couple of days, and now I think it's gonna rain. Looks
Yeah,
really
that
gloomy. Yeah.
got really dark really fast.
Yeah, I know. I've got the a candle going, so it looked like I was sitting in the dark with a candle
Yeah.
at night, and I expected people to see me, but that's not what happened. Anyway,
Well,
the light is back on.
it's morning still here, so this
Good
is all like
morning.
natural light right now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, is it really hot there where you are as well?
Um, I haven't left my house yet, but it has been really hot and really humid, which I'm currently in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it generally is not. I mean, it can be humid, but it's not as bad as I used to live in like Baltimore,
Okay.
and further south. It's like unbearable humidity during the summer, and it's been a little unbearable here lately.
Yeah, well, it's been like that here, and it changed dramatically again. Uh, it was really cold in July, and then in early July, and all of a sudden it was 36 degrees. Wait a minute, that's Celsius. I don't know Fahrenheit. It's
You're
like
all
a
good. I'm
different
actually
language.
learning Celsius because
Oh,
I've
you
been
are?
traveling so much that like nowhere else really uses Fahrenheit.
No,
So,
it's
so
just
I do have some
America.
concept of what that means.
Exactly. Well, in Ireland, do they use Celsius?
They do, yeah, they do. But there were a lot of people who tried to convert to Fahrenheit, and I was like,
Yeah.
just we'll just stick with Celsius. Like,
Oh, that's
I'm
so
starting to get it.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
They realized that you were traveling and they tried to help you adjust.
Oh my
That's always
goodness,
nice.
we the last time we talked, I hadn't gone to Ireland yet. It
No.
was still like in the inception of my thoughts and trying to like, yeah. Oh my goodness, we should
Yes.
definitely talk about that.
Yes. Please tell me. So your grandma was Irish?
My grandmother was Irish,
Yes.
so um if you don't mind, I can like start at the beginning of like my
I
ancestry.
wanted to ask you, so how did your grandma came to America? What happened? How did she meet
Yeah,
your granddad?
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so I would love to start just by saying that the one of the like reasons I've gotten so into my ancestry search is because I come from a very diverse family,
Awesome.
And both of my parents are mixed.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I just had like a really long struggle of trying to explain my identity to other people. Like, and a lot of people were constantly asking me about it, because I think sometimes in certain situations I can look ambiguous to people, so they can be very curious about that. And it used to bother me a lot. But then um, my grandmother passed away, and it just became like really important for me to know more about where my family comes from. My father also like doesn't know his biological father, so that side of my
Okay.
ancestry is like a mystery. So I started my ancestry search more to like help my father locate his biological father.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ah,
And
fascinating.
I've reconnected with some like other surprising family members as a result of that,
Yes.
which we'll talk about later. But essentially, like
Yeah.
through doing trying to track down my biological grandfather, I just was learning so many stories about other ancestors that I found to be incredibly interesting. And yeah, and that's how it started. So in 2015, after my grandmother had passed away, my mom and I went to a family reunion in Montana, like rural Montana, in a town where there is more cows than there are people.
Yeah, yeah.
Legitimately, yes.
One of my friends is from
Um,
Montana. Yeah, I've heard
yeah,
a little bit.
yes.
Yeah.
So, so my mom and I went. I was learning all of this information from my aunt who had done very extensive like genealogy research. But so what they were able to find was our their it would be their great great grandfather. So my great 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 grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a long story, but I'm
Great,
going to try
great
to make this quick.
grandfather. Okay. Just
So
trying to.
he
Yeah.
came, two of his sons
Yeah.
came to the United States because there weren't any job opportunities in Ireland for them at the time. And when they came, one of them they lost touch with because he was immediately drafted into the Civil War. And so they assumed that he had died because they had lost touch with him.
Oh,
And
that sounds like a
so,
movie.
yeah, and so my just wait. So my great 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 grandfather, um, in a boat, journeyed to the United States when he was in his 50s, which was a very long and strenuous trip on his body to
Mm-hmm.
find his son. He ended up finding him in Iowa, alive, married, and like then went back to Ireland to be with the family. The journey was so like strenuous on his
Mm-hmm.
body that shortly after he passed away when he got to Ireland. And so the rest of the family, there were, I think no, five other siblings. There were seven siblings total. Those five siblings and my great grandmother um, then came to the US as a result of him passing away because they didn't have a patriarch in Ireland anymore. And
Okay.
so if it wasn't for these two sons who came to the US to work and my grandfather, my great 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 grandfather passing away,
Mm-hmm.
my great great grandfather
Mm-hmm.
Luke would have never like come to the United States. So
Mm-hmm.
he came when he was like a very young child, um, and they set up roots here. So that's like one side of my family. But the reason why all of this information is important is my aunts who've been doing this genealogy research for years have learned most of this through like oral retelling of family history and interviewing like older people before they passed away. Um,
Amazing.
but yeah, but before
Yeah.
Matthew, they could not figure out, they couldn't go any further back in our ancestry search.
Okay.
So, because of that, I had this like dream that I would one day be able to go to Ireland and get records from the Catholic like parish in the town that my family's from, and continue to like go further back in our family history.
And that's what you did.
And that is what I did.
And that's what you found out when you were there.
Yeah. So when I went, so my family's from a little, well, what we knew is that my family migrated from a little tiny town called Birr, which is in Offaly County in Ireland, which it's like 40 minutes drive from Dublin. And interestingly, in a town that has more cows than people. See the connections?
Again, yeah.
Yeah. So when I got there, or before I even got there, I contacted the Catholic parish there to because in Ireland, a lot of the ancestry like searching depends on whether or not your family was Catholic or Protestant, and then that church will have the records where they used to keep track of the records where the city does not. So and they're all like handwritten, so sometimes you can't even like read the writing. Yeah. So I contacted the Catholic parish. Someone put me in touch with the parish priest. I had this like wonderful Airbnb host who is an artist herself, actually, and she was just so into like helping me locate people to talk to. She set me up with the library there. Yeah, a local historian. It was really incredible. So I went, and the first like 2 days I was there, the Catholic church, I couldn't figure out how to get into the parish office, and like there was no one really around. They were so busy doing other things. So on the day that I was leaving, like I was almost in tears. I was like, I have to figure out a way to get in there. So I ended up, the library was right next door, and I asked the lady, and she gave me like very specific directions. Turns out the little parish office was like behind the church in this little shack that I didn't see before. So I went in, and the lady was like, "Oh, we've been waiting for you." And she pulled out this big book of records.
Oh, I got chills.
Yeah, and in handwriting, I found a baptism record of the last child who was born, and then my great 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 grandfather's name and my great 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 grandmother's name as well. So there was one record there, and it turns out that the church was established like only 2 years after that record was taken. So it's very likely that my other family's records are in one of the surrounding like smaller parishes, and they don't even have like computers or phones. Like you actually have to like go there to talk to them. But unfortunately, I didn't have time to do that then. So all of that happened within like a very short amount of time. The other family mystery I was trying to solve is how my great 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 grandmother's maiden name was spelled, because we couldn't go further back on her side of the family because the spelling was incorrect. So I saw her name in print, and I saw how it was spelled, and so I was able to solve that mystery. Then, yeah. I can pause there, actually.
No, I did. I have so many questions. Like, first of all, you obviously want to go back and do more digging around those smaller churches, right? Like, to go even further down. Oh, that is just so fascinating. I got goosebumps. And how did you figure out her last name?
It was in the record, like the way that they spelled it. So, in actuality, so my grandmother's last name is Lawler, and it can be spelled Lawler or Lalor.
Couldn't be more Irish.
Yeah. The other last name is Logan, so no. There's and then there's more. Both of my grandparents or great grandparents were Irish, so this is only like one side of my Irish family.
So both of the sides of your family, on your dad's, on your mom's, are Irish. No.
Both of my mom's grandparents were from Ireland.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I'm only talking about her grandfather because he's the one that has the mystery. The other side is not a mystery. We can go back to 1612 on that side.
No
Um,
way.
yeah, but on this side we couldn't go back any further than 1815.
Mm.
Yeah, which is still like a blessing to be able to go that far back.
It is a blessing. Well, this fascinates me so much, and I wish I could do the same thing, but I think I have a lot of Russian ancestry, mostly from Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and a lot of the records were destroyed in the Soviet Union, so I can't actually go back that far. I don't think I can. I could try. It's
Yeah,
very inspiring too. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
mhm.
I mean, yeah, on the black side of my family, it's very difficult to go back any
Yeah,
further than emancipation. So
yeah,
so I do understand what an incredible blessing it is to be able to have all of this information, because on the other
mm,
side of my family, I'm having a lot more difficulty with being able to track people.
yeah.
Um,
What did it
but
do for you? Oh yeah, go on. Sorry.
yeah. Oh yeah, no. So the last thing I wanted to tell you is, by surprise, I met my friend in Dublin.
Yeah.
That wasn't a surprise. My friend and I met in Dublin. We were going on a bus tour, and we went by the immigration museum in Ireland. And I
Mhm.
didn't even know that this existed. It's called Epic. And they
Mhm.
created this whole museum for the Irish diaspora around the world. They just found it like important to be able to document like all of the reasons people left. But inside of this center, they have immigration records. So as soon as I heard that, my friend and I both looked at each other and we hopped off the bus. It was like not a part of the plan of our day. But we went first to the immigration center, and I gave them um, the agents there were just so helpful. I gave them information about my family, and I was able to find more records on who my great great grandmother, like likely that is her. There was only one person born around the time that had her name, and I was able to
God.
get the name of her parents, um, which took about an hour, but we
Yeah.
found her and we got it. And then I found three people that could potentially be my great great grandfather, and all of their parents listed as well. Um, and that was like
Wow.
really powerful and amazing. I haven't even shared this with my aunts yet because I haven't had time to like document everything that happened on this trip.
They can hear it
Um,
here.
yeah, right. They also
Wow.
they also have like information on where your last names come from. So something that I learned is that my family, for generations, we've been thinking that we're from this little town called Burr,
Mhm.
but it's actually more likely that we're from a neighboring county and
Okay.
another like small town. And our family went there for work, and so our last names, Logan and Lawler, are like there's parish records dating back to the 1600s of those last names in parishes in West Meath is the
Mhm.
county. And so yeah, I haven't told my aunts all this information yet, but I'm really excited to share it with them.
That
And
is
one of the reasons
insane.
they
Yeah.
haven't been able to go so far back is um, in the states we have ancestry.com,
Mhm.
but Ireland has their own ancestry.com type thing, and they
Okay.
don't like
Work
communicate.
together. Well,
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense considering how many okay, I see.
you have to pay more for it, and it's
Yeah.
pretty expensive.
Mm.
And there's just honestly some things that you
Get.
just can't find them out. You have to physically go to Ireland because
Mm.
there are most of, well, not most, all of the records at that time were handwritten, and to
Yeah.
translate them, when people like there was a lot of people who weren't like entirely literate, and so that's why the last names are spelled so differently on different
Mhm.
documents. But that was really amazing. And
That
then the
sorry,
yeah
that
go
just blows my mind. that you were
Yeah.
bus touring, and then you see this, and then you find out so much information that you were looking for. It just shows to say when you really want something, I feel like you'll find it. I feel like the universe does provide in that way when
Yes.
you're
Oh,
looking. Because you did put a lot of work into it. I mean, you had to buy the tickets to Ireland, you had to go, you had to find the time, you were looking, and there you go. There it is.
yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
gift.
I was, excuse me, I was so inspired
Yeah.
when I was there. The other part of the museum that I just had like an incredible moment. I think you were gonna ask me like, what does doing all of this mean for me?
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of the museum just dove into like just the different facets of like Irish culture,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a few things that like I even to this like even now I get emotional thinking about them. So one of the things that they talked about was storytelling, and I come from like an incredible legacy of storytellers, which I I think is like probably one of the reasons why I write poetry, because I just have a lot of family, especially on that side, that love to sit around and just tell amazing stories. And I think you can also tell from like the story of how my family got to the United States. Like this is a story that's been passed down through
Yeah.
generations and has been told to me. Um, so it's something that is just like innately a part of us. The other thing is music. And so at our family reunions, there are some of our like cousins who like fiddle on violins,
Yeah.
and I thought it was just because they are like in rural Montana and that's just like what they do, and country music, etc. But fiddling is actually a huge part of Irish music and folk music in Ireland.
Mm.
And then the last thing is there's the storytelling, the fiddling, and I'm blanking on the last one, but that's okay. Um, cattling and ranching. That's why I'm blanking because I don't know anything about that. But my
About the
family does.
cows.
Yeah, I grew up in a city. Like I don't know anything about that kind of life. It
Yeah.
intrigues me, but in Montana, my family has still to this day like ranches where they herd cattle, and uh, it's also been something that has carried through generations, and so like I think I had this like moment where I realized that even though my family like left Ireland, there's some things about my family that are just still very Irish, even though
Mm-hmm.
we've been in the United States for generations. Um, Irish people were just like so kind and spunky as well, and like that is how I would describe my aunts. Like they are so kind and
Yeah.
very spunky, and can also like you know say what they need to say if you need to say it. And
Right.
so yeah, I just like just the spirit of the people. I felt like um not at home, but like I just felt so much like contentment and gratitude to have been able to do that. And I'm the first person in my family who has gone back to Ireland since,
Mm-hmm.
or has gone back to Burr really
Right.
since 1850 something.
Well, with the purpose, right? With that purpose to find out where you come from. But it's interesting what you're mentioning because I wonder if there is that genetic part of us that we keep from our ancestors, like the storytelling and the music. There must be something to it that we carry on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fascinating. That's beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
No, that's
It
awesome.
Yeah, it was a very lovely trip, and I wrote a lot and reflected a lot, and I I can't wait to go back. It was everything that I had hoped it would be, and it
Mm.
gave me so much more.
Mm. It sounds like it. Sounds like things just happen when you let things happen, they happen for you when you're not worried, really. It feels like that's it's one of the things I can take away from your story.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I did worry a lot, but worrying that's when things
But don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I can't believe it's raining so much. I hope it's not. Can you hear it?
Yeah, a little.
Yeah. Sorry about that. It's so strange because we had no rain, which it was probably nice to get like, a little bit of freshness in. But
it rains a lot in Seattle, so the rain is like a very therapeutic sound for me.
It's funny that you say that. When I was going to university, my choices were either Auckland, New Zealand, or Seattle. How funny is that? What a funny coincidence. Yeah.
What school in Seattle?
I haven't chosen a school because I had to go there to have a look at schools. But when I came to New Zealand, it was just kind of like, Dad was just like, nope, you're going to school here. I was like, no, I want to go to America, the land of possibility. But I'm really glad that it turned out the way it did. In New Zealand. Yeah,
New Zealand's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it is beautiful. Well, next trip, you should do a trip to New Zealand.
Planning on it, actually, at the end of this year.
Really?
Yeah, my friend wants to celebrate her birthday in Australia.
Okay.
And if I'm gonna travel that far, I figure like I might as well pop over in New Zealand as well.
Oh, it would be cool. Well, I could give you some tips and things to do and to see. Once you're there, you just let me know.
That'd be awesome.
Sorry, I'm scared. That's my face when I hear thunder. It's like I haven't heard it before. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I figured my laptop's dying.
Okay, perfect.
No, I got it.
I need to get my cord also.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can tell me some more about the story. So you went to right. Mm-hmm.
No, I was gonna say, since we last talked, I also went to Cuba, which was also incredible, and I wrote a lot there as well. And although I don't have family from Cuba, there were certainly some like cultural elements of being there that resonated with me, like dancing. Surprise. I got to dance a lot when I was there and learn a lot about the music scene in Cuba, which has always been a dream of mine. So, yeah, that was incredible as well.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about Cuba. I think because I never really delved into the culture. So I really don't know anything about it. But what's it like over there? What's the origins of the culture in Cuba?
So, like many Spanish-speaking countries in the Caribbean, I would say the culture is a mixture of like Spain of the Spanish and African diaspora there, and it is Cuba is just a beautiful, resilient place. I think as an American, we grow up hearing a lot of like negative viewpoints of Cuba, or very American like dominated narratives about Cuba, and so it was nice actually to go to Cuba for myself and get to know and talk to people there. Also, I was in Havana, and the people there are also so kind and helpful. I speak a little bit of Spanish and
Mm-hmm.
understand a lot of Spanish, but I went by myself. This is my first time traveling to a country where I don't fluently speak the language all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my challenges was like trying to navigate with my broken Spanish. But
Mm-hmm.
people were so patient with me and I think like appreciated me trying. That by the end I was like holding like 5 minute long conversations with people, which felt really good.
Wow, that's really
Yeah.
good. I can understand that feeling of, oh, finally, I think I understand some of the things because I'm learning German now. And
Mm,
it's so difficult. Yeah, and then you can hear sentence. Finally, you can hear not just words, but you understand the whole sentence, and you're like, oh my God, finally, like I've got to that point where I understand this completely foreign language. It's really a good feeling to acquire that new skill. So that's
totally.
awesome.
How many languages do you speak? Or I should say, which languages do you speak?
So I speak Russian almost fluently. I think I speak it fluently, but my mom says I have an accent. I speak English fluently. I used to speak really good Japanese, but we moved away from Japan when I was 10 years ago.
Mm,
So when I go back there, which I did about 3 years ago, it comes back Japanese. So, and now I'm learning German. That's it. I
that's
think that's
awesome.
enough. Yeah. What about you?
English is
Mm-hmm.
my first language. I grew up around a lot of Spanish speakers, and so I've like picked up Spanish as a result of that. I also took it in high school, so
Okay.
I understand most of what people say to me, unless they're
Yeah.
talking in like really academic language, and then I'm totally lost. But I'm timid to speak it because I know that it's wrong. And then I speak Portuguese as well, conversationally. And my
Yeah.
Portuguese was a lot better as well, maybe like 5 to 10 years ago, because I was living in Brazil for a little while for school. And then when I came back, I was around
Yeah.
a lot of Portuguese speakers, but not currently.
That's cool. So in Seattle, there's a big Spanish community as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
lot of, there's a huge population of people from Mexico and El Salvador.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because it,
Yeah.
it feels far away. So.
No, I mean, if you think of like the West Coast, right? Like,
Mm.
like Mexico is right underneath California, and then
Mm-hmm.
the migration just keeps
Keeps
moving
coming up and
up.
up and up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So Seattle has a huge Mexican community, and um, I grew up like the high school that I went to, especially in middle school, was very diverse.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 30% white, and but then 30% like Asian and Pacific Islander,
Yeah.
and then the rest of us were Black and Hispanic or
Mm.
Latino, Latinx, whichever you prefer.
Well, it's all really just a name, but it's the culture that's important. That's so interesting to me. I went to a diverse high school too, but I went to international school.
In Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And the funny thing is, I can't tell you what percentage of what kind of people there were there because it always kept on changing. Because kids would come in and their parents would be in Japan for 2 years for work and then they'd leave. So that was my normal. But that was awesome. I really, really loved having been exposed to so many different cultures. Like we had a lot of uh, Muslim kids as well. That was interesting because as a young child, um, about the intricacies of the culture and what it's all about. And now that I'm growing up and you hear different things about it, and I'm just like, that's not it. That's not what I've
yeah.
learned, you know. But yeah, we had lots of people from America, Lots of
Really?
teachers from America. Yeah, that's why my accent has got a, I think it's got a bit of a Canadian or American twang, people say. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can tell. It's
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
not Russian.
It's definitely not British either.
No, no. I think we had one or two British teachers, and that was just, and the accent was just entertaining more than anything. We've never really picked it up as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can definitely hear that. It's so interesting to talk to people who English is like their second language.
Mm-hmm.
When like from traveling, I've met people who, when they speak English, do like have sort of a British accent because they learned English in like
In school.
London, and it was like
Yeah.
their second language. And then people who have like come here, you can definitely hear a difference, even though it's their second language.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something weird? So I've mentioned my husband before, who's Austrian, and the craziest thing, his English is perfect. Like it's fine. You could never tell that it's his second language, but he has never spoke to anybody in English before he's met me, like actually verbally, and the way that he learned it for TV shows. So he has a bit of an American twang too, and that makes me laugh so much. He thinks, "Oh, do I have like a German accent?" Like, no, you don't. No, that's weird. It's really weird the way
Yeah,
that works. Yeah.
usually when people from Austria, when I meet them, I have thought like,
Yeah.
oh, they must be German. But
Yeah.
that is so funny.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you've met people from Austria? I didn't know.
well, yeah, I mean, I've traveled a lot, so yeah,
Yeah.
I have met people. I also lived in London for a
Cool.
semester when I was in school as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I was gonna say is that I've met people literally in every country that I've been to that have learned
Yeah.
English from watching American TV shows and listening to American music.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Brazil, I met a guy who spoke English. Like, he was like one of the main people that I could communicate with in English
Yeah.
from playing Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, you're kidding me. But from talking to people on the ground, right? Because they communicate, or no, just listening.
Just like listening to the music,
Yeah.
listening to the people talking on Grand Theft Auto. So, I mean, I'm sure he like also watched American like TV and probably listened to the music, but he was really into Grand Theft Auto, and so he knew like some slang words that people don't generally know when I'm traveling. It was like really strange
Well,
and funny, but
that's what I find at home. Sometimes something slang comes up. I'm like, where did you learn this? But yeah, it's amazing how people, you might think that something like playing video games or watching TV shows is a waste of time, but people learn a language for it. Like, it depends, you know? It depends on what you do with it. And it depends on your perspective, really. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think that like with Portuguese now, I and with Spanish, I used to watch telenovelas to
Yes?
mhm.
What did you used to watch? Because I
I don't
watched
even
a
know.
few. Oh,
I
okay.
don't even remember. I just know that I watched them because I wanted to like get more practice with understanding Spanish and Portuguese.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're so dramatic. So, like, probably sometimes when I talk, I can like be very dramatic in the way that I speak. I recorded a video of myself speaking Spanish after I went to Cuba for Instagram, actually,
Yeah.
and like in English, I mean, my face is very expressive, I think, in English, but in Spanish, my hands were just like all over the place while I was talking and expressing myself. And I was like, who is this person?
There's something about being closer to the equator that it makes you use your hands when you talk. Like, we just went to France and Italy, and everyone's so expressive. And the best thing that I like about it, and I actually think it's a positive aspect, is that if a French person or an Italian person is upset with you, like say a waiter is annoyed by you as a customer, he will not hide it. You will know that he's unhappy with you, and I love it because it's honest, you know?
I
Yeah,
appreciate that
it's
as well.
awesome. I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
they're people too. Like I
Yeah.
don't yeah. So of course they're going to be annoyed if you're being a jerk to them.
Absolutely, right? But yeah, that's cool. You've been to England? Where have you traveled in Europe?
In Europe, I've been to um so I've been to London, I've been to Paris,
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Milan, Lisbon,
Milan. Yeah.
Barcelona, and that's all. So I shouldn't say that's all. That's like
That's a
that's
lot.
pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah.
good list of places to have been. I would love to be able to spend more time there and be able to go to like places like Denmark and
Yeah.
Sweden, Austria, the Netherlands. Uh, I just like the way that I'm able to travel so much is that I stock airline tickets and I keep like
Yeah.
record of when is the best time to go to different places. Oh, and how Ireland is part of Europe as well. I
Right,
forgot
right,
that,
right.
but
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so I stock airline tickets, and then when I see the price go down a lot, I like jump on it, and I usually
Okay.
will buy a one-way ticket into one country and out of another.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's so easy to get in and out of European countries once you're in Europe.
Yeah, they
But I
don't want
have
you here for long. Nobody. Yeah, they just, if you're not part of the country. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, no, really, if you're not part of the
It
European Union, there, yeah,
it's much
um,
harder. Yeah, I just
yeah.
did because I have to get visas. I just did a visit for the United States, and that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. When I was making a visa here the first time, that was a lot more work.
Mm,
For the US, it just honestly, I think she just looked at me. She was like, "Yep, you can come." So,
that's a surprise because they're
yeah,
usually the United States is very difficult with visas and such.
I think
But I'm
so.
happy. So you're coming to the United States.
I am. So
Where
it's
are you
one
coming to?
part, yeah, one part I didn't say. I'm actually a bridesmaid for my friend, and she's getting married, so I had to come. And she's getting married in Las Vegas.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
know. And it's packed with events and things. But if you are in Las Vegas in September, it'd be really cool to catch up.
It would be so cool. Let me tell you, I have vowed to myself that I am not returning to Las Vegas.
I'm
Not gonna do it.
afraid. Should I be afraid? Should I be concerned?
You should be afraid.
Yes.
How long are you there for?
Week.
Oh my gosh. So
Hmm.
when I turned 21, maybe a little while after, I went to Vegas. I've been to Vegas a few times. Seattle, it's not close, but the plane ride is only an hour and like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So lots of people go for like spring break. Vegas, like the
Yeah.
strip, the Las Vegas strip, where all the hotels and such are. I made the mistake of staying there for a week, and that's a lot because the only thing there is to do is drink and party and gamble. And
Oh,
by day
duh.
like 3, my liver was ready. It was like, okay, it's time to go home. So the rest of the time was just like, when are we going home? I can't do this anymore. But you have like a reason to go, so you'll be busy with the wedding, and you'll get
I
like
hope
maybe a
so.
few days to explore.
I hope so. I hope I'll just be busy with the wedding. Anyway.
I Does she live in Las Vegas?
Yeah, so her husband to be is from Las Vegas, and they've met when they were studying in Paris.
Oh
It's
wow.
actually quite a cute story. I hope they don't mind me telling that story. But they met when they were studying in Paris, and then they broke up for a very long time, a lot, like 6 years. And
Mm.
then they met together, like they met up again in Italy, and he just decided not never to let go of her again. So it's so cute. And they've been together since. So now she's moved to Las Vegas and she loves it. And she's not a party girl, so she doesn't really go out that much anymore.
Yeah.
She works, so she loves it there for the liveliness that it is, but she likes the idea that she can go, but she, stays away from it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair to Vegas, there's a lot of stuff going on that's not on the strip,
Yeah.
and everyone I've talked to that's actually lived in Las Vegas has loved it. So, so to be fair, my 21-year-old self probably hasn't taken advantage. I did also go for a bachelorette party. It's very hot there as well. It's dry heat, which people are not used to, but the West Coast like can be very dry when it's hot. So the bachelorette party that I was at, the bride ended up in the hospital because she was drinking too much and got dehydrated. And that's not uncommon. So I say all of that to say, you should do a wedding. You should do the strip for maybe like 2 days, but then do what they call off the strip. And off the strip is like the life.
There's a name for it.
Yeah, it's like what the locals do in Las Vegas, off the strip.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm interested about, actual life in America. Well, it's my first time in America in general. I just want to see the country, and I hope I don't come back with just an impression of the strip, because I can't imagine that's the whole of America. Yeah.
No. I mean, even off the strip, Vegas is its own vibe, its own feel, and so... And actually, that's something I'm realizing about the United States is just like the landscape diversity is so robust that there's many cities that just have their own vibe that you can't codify as like, this is what the United States is, because there's no like quintessential American city. Like New York is so different than any other city in the United States. LA, own vibe, totally different. New Orleans, Las Vegas, they all, so you'll get like a good Las Vegas taste, but it won't, you got to come back to the United States.
I have to come back. I want to come back, and I'm planning to come back and see something else and actually see places like New York and see maybe a little bit of what actual America is all about, like in the middle.
Middle America. So one of my goals in life is to travel to all 50 states.
Okay.
And I'm at like 38 right now.
Including Hawaii?
I haven't done Hawaii yet.
Okay,
That's one of the, Hawaii and Alaska are two difficult ones. But
Alaska. Yeah.
Yeah. The most difficult ones are the middle states, as we call them, the Midwest. Because one, I don't have any family there, but then two, there's just a lot of land to cover. So I'm trying to figure out how to knock off all those states like Kentucky and South Dakota and North Dakota. Like, we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm sure you will, because you travel so much. You travel all the time. I'm just going to say, we've talked for over an hour. I don't know how much time you have, because you said you have. I didn't even realize that time flies by. Yeah.
Right, the time just flew by. I actually do need to go to work now, but
that's understandable.
I looked at the time, I'm like, I was supposed to be working 15 minutes ago.
Oh well. Yeah, sorry about that. I should have been watching.
It's all good. I work remotely, so I'll just end up working 15 minutes somewhere else. But it was so wonderful to talk to you again. Yeah,
it was awesome to talk to you, and I'm so glad I feel like we haven't even covered the rest of your ancestral story about your dad, and I'm sure we will eventually.
Oh yeah.
And come to Austria.
I know. I honestly would love to come to Austria, and you see how much I travel, like it's not off the table.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to talk again, because I didn't get to tell you the story, the surprise ancestry story of reconnecting with people.
Oh no, yes.
So maybe we can talk again.
We will talk again. I'm sure many, many times. Okay.
Cool.
Well, I'll let you go now to work. But
Thank you so much.
It was awesome to talk to you, and you haven't read your poetry, and that's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll do it all again, but we had so much fun, and you have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
And bye.
Bye.